Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Legion's Lounge, an all-new podcast hosted by me, Andrew of the Cardboard Cohorts, and my co-host, CEO of Future Lore Studios, creator of Legion's Realms at War, the trading card game, Mr. Taylor Howe. Taylor, thank you for being here.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. It's awesome to be part of this whole thing and this new adventure. So, we're only a game that's only been a year old and going, and now bringing you guys in and working together to do a podcast like this. I think it's great to reach out to the community and be part of that. So,
absolutely, and of course, with us as well is our producer of the Legion's Lounge podcast, Mr. Matt Waller. Matt, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Not too much, man. I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Fantastic. So, Matt, like I told you, this podcast wouldn't be what it is without you. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to do the editing and recording and everything.
I appreciate you having me, man.
I'm an old fogey. I'm an old fogey, and I don't know anything about that stuff.
So Andrew, where can we find this and all of the links for these podcasts going forward?
Okay, so we're recording on Anchor FM, and what Anchor FM does is once we're done recording, we publish the episode. It will literally blast out this podcast to anywhere there's a podcast. So we're talking Apple iTunes, Google Play, Overcast, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Stitcher, and of course Spotify. So you can literally hit us up on every single one of those podcasts. And people are probably trying to wonder, okay, you already have a YouTube channel. Why a podcast? Well, not everybody watches YouTube, and podcast is a big thing. And when you're traveling, especially during the holiday seasons, and you just want to flip on a good episode and listen to some people talk about some trading card games, hey, this is the one for you. What other podcast are you going to have where you have the actual creator of the game to be able to, talk to? We have the signups on our Discords, both mine, the Cardboard Cohorts Discord, and Legion's Realms at Wars Discord. You can go in there, you hit the sign up sheet, be a guest on the show, and actually pick the brain of the creator of this amazing TCG. So.
Yeah, that's something we really wanted to capitalize on, right? YouTube is a great platform, especially visually, to represent not only the cards in its physical form, but having that opportunity to be part of the discussion, bring the community in week by week, whether it's one guest or two, or however we decide to do it. I mean, as we go along with the podcast, I'm sure we'll add other things, and we're talking about a potential community roundtable as well. So. These are all going to be great avenues, I think, and listening to it, like you said, on the go, right?
Right.
A lot of people we lead busy lives, and a lot of people don't necessarily have time to sit and watch a YouTube video, but it's something that you can pick up and listen to while you're doing stuff around the house, or on your drive somewhere, right? Especially like you said, during the holiday season. So whether it's a commute back or to or from work. Or something on the way to a relative's place or whatever, I feel as though we got a really good platform for that.
Man, you could listen to this podcast walking your dog, dude, or
exactly.
a gym session, or just cleaning around your house. That's a great thing about podcasts.
Yeah, you're just joining into the conversation, and it's like you don't have to set aside time to watch the video of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we all know YouTube, it's like you said, Taylor, it's one of those things where you physically sit down to watch and engage with content creators. Podcast is a lot different. You could just literally throw it on and listen to it while you're doing things. Like I listen to podcasts every night when I'm doing dishes or cleaning up around the house. So it's a great outlet to use, especially promote a game, talk about a game, and interact with the fans. So yeah, absolutely. So that's what this is all about. It's for new players, veteran players, and those just interested in trading card games and wanting to pick up something different than maybe Magic the Gathering or whatever else is out there right now, Flesh and Blood. So that's what it's all about, just us sitting down, talking about this amazing game, its origins, things like that. So,
I think a crucial part too is just getting the opportunity at the ground level, right? Like I said, we're only a year old now, but it's the fact that we're going strong. And I believe this podcast is going to be airing right in the time before our big set launches on Kickstarter. So, I mean, that's going to be something great to watch out for as we try and expand and scale up even bigger and reach masses that we haven't been able to reach yet. So I know we had the in the indie TCG space, we had the luxury of some of these other games, like you mentioned, Flesh and Blood coming along and kind of opening the door and blazing a trail for a lot of indie TCGs coming out from different parts of the world, and really showing people and game stores, players and hobby enthusiasts that there's another avenue, another way, another games can exist outside of just the typical big three that have been in the forefront for so long. And I really think that that's something that we can capitalize on. Now, since then, we've seen a big influx of TCGs hit the market space.
Yeah.
Whether that be through Kickstarter or otherwise, but the big thing is that one of the things we want to prove and we want to show is that Allegiance is here to stay. We want to really lock into the fact that we have a great community that's, we would even say that our community's been around for over a year now, but it's just it's still budding in the fact that we have new people joining every day, contacting us through different social media platforms, and this is just another avenue that you can be part of the community, part of the conversation, and come in and talk with great community members and myself. So.
Yeah, so I want to talk about that actually. So you asked when this would be airing. So episode 1, this episode right here, will be airing on January 23rd, right before Christmas Eve. So we'll air episode 1, and then every week, I'm thinking of releasing every Monday. After that, we'll release a new episode, so. Trying to think, I'm thinking Mondays probably be the best time to, beginning of the week to release an episode.
Well, because then people have more things to do, right? Like, you listen to a podcast while you're doing something, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Mondays, Mondays is the beginning of your week, and you got things to do. Weekends more your relaxed time. So I think releasing it on the Mondays great. But
it makes sense. It sets off your week.
Exactly.
Right.
So. Exactly.
Right. But I also want to talk about, as you mentioned, Kickstarter. So we're doing this right before the Legions Realms at War Kickstarter, and I want to just say something how I feel about Kickstarter. So Kickstarter, as you said, we've seen like this influx of TCGs since COVID. A lot of these games were nothing more than let's try to see if we can get rich. And a lot of them failed miserably. We've seen things like Maelstrom and Polywalk just, not doing so well with their Kickstarter, whether it be mismanagement of funds or just running away with funds, right? So it put a bad taste in people's mouth. Well, the good thing about Legion's Realms at War is it's a game that's already done. It's a game that's already been out for a year. So there's no, oh, well, we're not going to produce cards. We're not going to produce product for our consumers, for those that are interested, because the game's already been out for a year, and you've released what, 3 expansions already, correct? In just a year. Yeah. So exactly. This has to show people like, okay, this game's legit. This game is pushing out this product. There's a lot of games that have been out a lot longer than Legion's Realms at War that have barely put out what you've put it out.
100%. And like, I think something that's very interesting is that it's like Legion's Realms at War has over, I want to say over 700 cards right now.
Yep.
And so you can get rid of that kind of fear of not wondering how it's going to turn out, because you can already see the first the first big chunk of it, because there's already 3 expansions, battle decks for each of them. And
then we're getting with the release of Empires on the Rise, which is the Kickstarter release. We're getting brand new Warlords, 8 new Guardians, synergies, things like these key cards that play the game that are going to really just change everything with this game.
It's the first time that all of those key pieces, like you mentioned, is the first time it's actually released in one sealed product.
Right, because Ravaged Lands didn't have Warlords, but it had Guardians, right?
And synergies, and
synergies. And then Frontiers, you could pull like the foiled Warlords, but you could pull Guardians. But like you said, this Empires of the Rise that's launching on Kickstarter in January, it has everything, man, and it's going to change the meta of this game 100%.
And it's also the first time Legion specific bounty renowned warriors, or not bounty, renowned warriors are coming out. Because we have the Ren Renegade and the Kakabel ones.
Yep.
But now we have the new ones coming in, Empires on the Rise as well. It's everything packed into one set, man. It's going to be huge.
And like I said, if I was like a person that was like, hesitant on Kickstarter with TCGs, which obviously you guys know I am. I cover a lot of new indie TCGs. I don't cover anything that's the top 3. It's something I don't do on my YouTube channel. But that's that. If I was an outsider looking in when it came to backing Kickstarter, I wouldn't have any fear backing Legions of Realms at War, simply because it's already done. It's already complete. It's already here. And you know what I mean? It's already in LGSs. So
yeah, and we show that we deliver, like you said, it's already in LGSs, right? This is 100% our goal is to expand, right? Mm-hmm. Is to grow. And the fact that coming as a game coming out of Canada, our market is way smaller than the United States. You guys have 10 times the population, right? Mm-hmm. So
yep.
And you reach a bigger space than we ever could, right? And so the fact is that we're already in the United States. We actually have more stores in the U.S. than we do in Canada. Mm-hmm. So that goes to show our expansion already, right? And it's to capitalize on that, right? So we're going to have. But not only is it going to be available for consumers, but it's also going to be just available for LGSs as well, right? Like we want to make sure that they're treated properly in this, and not only our pre-existing LGSs that have the opportunity to get product overall below their typical wholesale, but also their opportunity to reach out to new LGSs that we haven't got a chance to reach yet or haven't heard of us yet, because like I said, we're only a year old and we haven't had a mass marketing plan like this before. So we look at year one, you might think like, oh, are they going to Kickstarter now because year one was like a testing situation? But no, it's actually the game's been built and developed over the past decade. And so year one was in no way a test for us. Year one was, let's hit the ground running. Let's release the product. Let's grow through stores. Too. I think so too, right? And I think it's like let's grow through stores and see what our true player base is, instead of jumping in on that early Kickstarter boom and seeing like the potential of a lot of the people that would just grab it and end up flipping it. We wanted a true test the waters to see where we were at. Mm-hmm. And we feel as though now using Kickstarter as a mass marketing tool to help us scale up in our modern world, the TCG scale, I think as though that's one of the best tools that we can use.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, exactly. And that's what Kickstarter, in my opinion, really is. It's just a marketing tool. It's not a free marketing tool because, like I said, you're going to get feed for it. But how it reaches the masses of, like you said, outside of Canada, here in the United States, it's just one of those tools that right now it's a no-brainer. Like use it. It's there at your disposal. The games, like you said, you get these people, like we've seen it as fans of the game. You've seen it, I'm sure, as a creator, Taylor. Matt, you've probably seen it where people expect they expect the game to be carried in every single LGS across the world.
Exactly, yeah.
But that's just not reality, because when you do something like that, it creates more pressure on you as a company, and you're not going to be able to fulfill orders. And then you are going to hit that specific way where people are like, oh, okay, well, they can't give us what we want. They can't meet demand. It's called slow growth, which you have to have as a new game. And I think that in just the year that you guys have been a company and released product, 3 expansions,
8
how
battle
many
decks.
LGSs do we have right now for Legions Realms of War, Taylor?
We're just over 20 now, right? And and that's one of the things that, like, to comment on what you said about that slow growth, that natural evolution, is the fact that it was also being a new space or a new game in this space, is the fact that obviously just like any business venture, it comes with a lot of learning curves, right? And a lot of things that you have to learn, whether it's trial by fire or you come in with prior experience. It's just the fact that we've been able to, in this year, hammer down our own distribution methods, right? A lot of companies don't have that opportunity, and having the connections we have to do in-house graphics and design, and being able to do a lot of the behind the scenes all in studio, not having to source that out has been a huge benefit for us. And
Right.
I think a big thing too is the fact is that, spending a lot of years in the TCG space myself as a player and a circuit player through a lot of different competitive games, not only does that help when it comes to game design, layout, mechanics of cards, but I think it doesn't get talked about enough at the connections and the friendships that you make through that process. And I feel as though that a lot of the connections I made through, players in local communities, but also business owners through LGSs, has been able to help us get a footing in some of these stores that you wouldn't normally get, because I already had those prior connections, right? So right. I was able to use a really close connection of mine to launch the game out of a local game store here in Woodstock, Nerds Cafe, right? So I think that's a big thing, is those connections can't be overstated enough. I think like it's that growth you're talking about, mm-hmm. and showing that we have what it takes, right? We have the shipping down, and we have our own distribution down, and we have the design and the connections we were talking about, and like that was what year one was, right? Mm-hmm. We pushed out great products. Amazing. For the whole first year, and we've grown the player base. We've held big events, big tournaments, right? So that's another thing that people talk about that oftentimes is like, okay, are these games taking their funding and putting it in something else other than the game, or are they taking it and putting it in other auxiliary products, or are they putting it into tournament prize winnings? But that's all stuff that we've already done, right?
Correct. Yeah, I was going to say, you guys have already, in just a year before you even try to do a Kickstarter, which I think was a really smart tactic on your part, is that you showed, hey, we run these tournaments. We didn't use any of these Kickstarter funds for that. Exactly. You guys have already done $15,000 worth of tournament. You've done 2 there in Canada and 1 here in Tennessee at Guild Vault Games. So you proved that, hey, 3 tournaments in your first year before even trying to use something like Kickstarter or crowdfunding, like that's what impressed me. That's why I was like, okay.
There also was the 4K as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I was gonna say, to capitalize off what you said there, right? That in our technically just a little over 12 months, it's not just a matter of the 3, obviously the most recent memory is those 3 5K tournaments that we did all in the month of November, 2 in Canada and 1 in the United States. But it's the fact that we've been holding official organized play since August, right? And so they're sent out, these campaign kits sent out to stores that have a player base of 6 or more that is coming out weekly, and those are sent out to stores free of charge, right? Like, right, so those are going out, and there's similar to what you would expect to see out of Flesh and Blood Armory kit. You got stuff that's top 4 promos, first place prize promo cards, as well as play mats, right? So all of those things are being sent out to the LGSs to help grow the communities, right? Like, they're the ones that are putting in the work at the store level, and we want to reward them for doing so, and we want to keep growing those player bases in those little pocket communities. And so we've been hosting those since August, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. That's one of the other things that I love about Future Lore Studios, is that you guys care about the community, you care about the consumer, but you also 100% care about the local game stores. You guys, like I said, you guys send them these free kits for tournaments that they host every Thursday, especially here in Clarksville, Tennessee at Guild Vault Games. Exactly. They host a tournament every single Thursday. I was not a tournament player. I've been playing TCG since 1993. I've played a lot of TCGs. I've never been a tournament player until Legion's Realms at War. Have I got to play in as many as I want to? No, I have a busy schedule, doing content, creating podcasts and everything else, being a dad, being a husband, and working a full-time job. I don't get to do as many tournaments as I wanted to, but it says a lot that I've been playing a game or TCGs for over 3 decades, and this is the first one I decided to hit up in a tournament. That has to say a lot about the game.
If I can add on to it, you said I haven't been into as many as I want to, and you just said that you weren't a tournament player before. Like, if that doesn't speak volumes, I don't know what will.
Well, look at our other cohort, Opal.
Mm-hmm.
She's never played in a tournament. She's been playing TCGs for about 10, 15 years. She's already placed 4th in one tournament and 8th in the Siege Series tournament. Caleb, who hadn't even picked up a TCG until late last year, played in his first tournament at Legions Realms of War at Guild Vault Games. So that's what I'm saying. You're taking 3 people that never played tournaments, and this game's like enticing us. That it's like, hey, we want to play this tournament because not just because of the people, but the game is just fun.
Exactly.
So that says a lot about the game and the company.
I think piggybacking off that, and I think Matt can really hone in here, is the fact that I believe this is your first trading card game, right, Matt?
Yeah, like first that I've like actually delved into, right? Like I've played stuff with like my brother here and there, but like nothing actually competitive in any really sense.
So what'd you play before? What's one of the TCGs that you played? I'm assuming probably Magic. Everybody's played Magic.
Yep. Played a little bit of Magic, a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh, and like Yu-Gi-Oh was like 10 years ago. And then
So what was it? What was it about Legions then that just
I don't know.
What was it?
I honestly have no idea.
Community, the game itself. Did the community lure you in, and then you found out the game was fun? Like,
honestly, I have no idea. So
TCGs.
So my story is Hunter. He goes, hey, let's go over to Alice Collectibles, and then we'll go amp up your Magic deck, and then we'll play a game. And I go, okay, sick. And they go, okay, yeah. So they're pulling all your like 30 singles. So how about we while we're waiting, you play Legions. And then I was like, okay, sick. And then I remember AJ came over to me and he's like, Hunter said you wanted these. And it was a giant stack of undead cards.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, okay. I was really surprised. And then out of nowhere, it's just like, he's like, so do you want to play the game of Magic? And I'm like, no, I want to play this.
Yeah, it's the community, man. I think the community is what just gets you in, and then that's when you realize, hey, the community is great, but this game is just as great as community. Like the game is fun, man. Like I said, I've been playing Magic for a long time. It's hands down my favorite game ever until this year, and Legions just kind of took that spot. And the cardboard cohorts, all 3 of us, like this is our game. Like this is the game that we're most passionate about, that we love. So it speaks like volumes what this game means to a lot of the people in the community, and just how successful it is and is going to continue to be as it grows more and more.
Oh, exactly.
I think I'll go for it, Matt.
Okay. I was going to say something that like I think really shows differences is how it's like my first day there, no one besides Hunter knew me. People were like, hey, here's a whole bunch of cards. Here's stuff you can borrow. Here's life counters to borrow. Here's a playmat to borrow, and all this stuff. And he's like, here's a guardian to borrow.
Yeah.
And
that's how the community is, man.
Yeah, and it was amazing, right? Like
Taylor saw it
at the full experience
at the Guild Vault 5K series. Taylor saw it. I had to lend out every single mat I had to new players because they didn't have mats to play with. They like, hey, Andrew, you got a mat? And I was like, one. How the hell do you even know who I am? Like, some of these people have never watched our YouTube channel. Some of these people are new players I've never seen before. So I was like, how the hell do you know who I am? I was like, yeah, man, go for it, dude. It's in my backpack right over there. Grab a, if you need some cards, there's a bunch of cards in there. So yeah, the community is pretty amazing, man. So,
well, yeah,
I think the person who spearheaded that for sure, like obviously it goes from the top down, and we want to make sure that we are welcome to the community, and that I try and be as present at as many competitions and weekly tournaments as I can, the stores that we can reach within a week or within a drive or however it works out. But I think a big member and the spearhead to the community growth, it has to go to Ryan.
100%.
I think Ryan has been super welcoming to a lot of people. Matt included, right? He's told me numerous times where he says like Ryan is the tipping point when it comes to welcoming new people in open arms.
He's literally like,
for sure.
You seem like the type to welcome people. Here's an entire shoebox full of cards. That way you can welcome people.
So yeah, I mean, he was handing me stuff and at the tournament, but so my first interaction with anybody from Future Lore Studios was obviously you, Taylor, which I didn't know you from Adam at the time. I just messaged you, said, hey, thanks for making a great game. And then my second interaction with somebody from Future Lore Studios was definitely Ryan, who I've become very close with. Like, he is just an awesome guy. I mean, I just gave him a pretty awesome collectible DeLorean when he came down from Guild Vault, just because I noticed his background. He had some Back to the Future stuff. I was like, okay, this guy likes Back to the Future as much as me. So and that's just the way the community is. Like, we just, hey, you want some cards? Hey, you want some of this? You know what I mean? It's just, the community is definitely what sells the game, what gets people into the game. And then the game, like I said, I've told you before, it sells itself. We showed this game to our LGS here. Opal and Caleb did a quick learn to play, and why they did that, I talked to Joe and Ed and Nick, and it didn't take much convincing. It just took showing them the game and the cards, and within like 2 weeks they had stuff ordered from Future Lore Studios, and by like week 3, I want to say they had tournaments going on already. And they were selling out a product left and right. We went up there to buy product. We couldn't buy anything because the shit was sold out already.
Well, and that's the fast turnaround we want, right? Like, not just for us, but to make sure that, we get in contact, or you guys get in contact as community champions with the stores. You set something up, have them contact us. And, most of the time within 24 hours of contact, you're not only going to get, the stores are going to have welcome packages shipped out of our studio right to them, but is that just setting up that business relationship and that business partnership to work together to grow the community, work together to get people in their store. And, that's one of the things we offer, right? We do completely free shipping from our door to the LGS's door anywhere in North America, right? Like, yes, we're from Canada, but there's no duty, no import charges. Like, we deal directly to the door to door, and we ship it, and it's all we pay for all of it.
That right there shows
the dedication.
That you guys give a shit about the local game stores, because I know personally how much it costs to ship stuff back and forth to Canada, and it is not cheap. So that right there, for those people who might not think that, Legion's Realms at War is a supporter of LGS's, it's spoken volumes and volumes of what they do for LGS's, and Guild Vault Games is probably one that you could call up right now and they tell you all about Legion. I mean, they have better turnouts for their Legion's tournaments than sometimes they do their Magic tournaments. Like,
really?
It's just, yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Well, it's like that now with Atlas, one of our local game stores, right? I know Matt is one of the frequent players there, and they gave us a night. They gave us Wednesday nights when we first started there, and that was just because they have a big play space, and it's a divided play space. So one side would always be playing Magic Commander, and then they had the other side that they weren't really using, so that they gave it to us, and they thought, okay, Wednesday nights is the middle of the week. Are they really going to have that great of a turnout? But when we're getting 12 to 16 players a night every Wednesday, and now it's to a point where, as we approach the end of this year, we're seeing more players coming out to Legions on Wednesday nights than there is Magic players playing Commander, right? So like that speaks volumes to the fact that where their clientele and where their player bases are shifting.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I've seen, I've been to Guild Vault several times. Back in the day when I first moved here to Clarksville, Tennessee, it was called Rick's, and it's shifted ownership, and what Joe has done with that LGS is simply remarkable, because I remember going in there several times and just, it's one of those, smaller LGSs, but, there just wasn't a lot of foot traffic. And now me and my wife pass there probably 2 or 3 times a week, and you can't find a parking spot in that place. Like, it is busy. And like I said, it's the one bad thing about military towns is, the people coming in and out. So you're not always gonna have the same turnout. But yeah, Legions has been absolutely wonderful here in our hometown. Like, we've got a lot of people playing it. So a lot of people interested, a lot of people in the Discord now from Clarksville, which is cool to see. You get to put some faces with the names. And
well, I can speak firsthand to that too, because like driving down, we did the 10 and a half hour drive down to Clarksville, Tennessee, to not only meet you guys, but also to run and host the tournament there with Gil Vault. So I can attest to that, like meeting the owner Joe in person, and his incredible staff that are there, and seeing the turnout and the interest. Like, we got there late Friday night. Tournament was the next day on the Saturday morning, and we walked in Friday night there, and people are at the tables, building decks and testing out the game and figuring out what's going to be the meta for the next day. And these are experienced players. And then the next morning we see brand new players showing up and playing as well, right? Like the growth there. And then on the drive home, we're coming back to Canada another 10 hours the other way. And I get messages on the car ride home on the Sunday saying that we get from people in that community that I got a chance to meet and talk to in person. And they're messaging me, letting me know that, like, ever since you left, it's been booming here. Like, people love the fact that you make the effort, you make the distance to drive down and support the game stores in person. It's not a matter of necessarily beating our chest proud, but it's the fact that, have you heard of other games that do that? Right.
Well,
and that's the thing is,
right?
Yeah, I'll be honest. Have I heard of other games doing that? Yes, absolutely. But they weren't doing it to support the LGS, the community in the game. They were just doing it to try to sell their game, which you clearly were not. You've already sold your game to that LGS. And you just came down to host a game and meet new community members and players.
Exactly. And like, which new games do we know that make like over 3 like new products a year, like that made 3 products in their first year?
Matt, dude, there's games that have been out longer that don't produce that. It's absolutely insane. Right? I'll be honest. Nobody else has to say it. It's a podcast. I don't work for Future Lore Studios, or I'm associated with Legion of Rebels at War. Genesis is a perfect example of a game like that. It's been out for 6 years, and it's had one expansion set a year, and questionable to call it an expansion set. Like, nothing to chase. No, like, that's the thing with Legion's Realms at War. Why I liked it, because like when I played Magic, I'd open up a booster set box, and I there was cards I knew I was looking for. Like when Kamigawa came out, I wasn't looking for all these shiny cards. I was looking for Farewell. Like, Farewell was the card that, like, I was like, okay, I want that card. Legions is the same way. Like, it has pools, like these chase cards that you just crave, that you want. It's something I was talking to Paul about when you guys were down. Like, I love buying a box myself and pulling a card myself. Like, it's that chase that's so much fun. You guys watched our videos. We were rolling for packs, and we think we were going to get something awesome. We didn't. We were so disappointed. And we get something great, and we were so stoked. Like, that's not stuff, like, we're not paid actors. We can't act that stuff out. Like, those are genuine, things that we're doing. Like, it's just, that's why I like Legions. Like, there's just these every single set, there's like a new chase card that I'm just like, I need that card. I want that card. Not necessarily to play, but just add to my collection and stare at it.
Exactly.
I think prime example too. Sorry. I was just gonna say, prime example would be when it comes to the chase. Like, we got a terrific team of artists. We got we honestly, maybe it's just biased, but I feel as though we produce beautiful cards.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
And like, we have a foil pattern that other people don't use. Like the way we do our stamp foil, it's really it's our card 100% through and through, because nobody has a card designed the way we do, so we can really accentuate those features with foiling. So, but when it comes down to it, yeah, you have to have chase cards built into a set. It's
absolutely,
like,
yeah.
That's what people open booster packs for. That's the rush of it. But at the same time, it's also what helps LGSs, feel like they want to crack boxes and sell singles to their local community as well, right?
There's several games I've bought where I could buy 2 boxes and I didn't need to buy anymore. Like I was like, okay, well I got everything I need because there's no chase cards in this. There's nothing that I'm looking for specifically. Legions, obviously, Taylor, has not been that way. Me and Caleb and Opal have opened so many booster boxes and we still don't have some of the shit that I'm like. I still don't have the Ophidian that I'm still chasing, that Elysian rare from the Frontier set. I'm still chasing that card. Opal's still chasing that card. Caleb's still chasing that card. So every once in a while, we'll go in and we'll buy a pack and hope to pull it, but still nothing yet. So,
well, to be fair, I want to preface that it's not like a staple card. It's not like oh, this is a super important card. Like it's important, but it's not like even like Ophidian's playable right now. It's just that it's a collector's item right now, and it's
exactly. Yeah,
it's part 100%. Of the chase, but it's not like if you get it, it's broken. It's like, no, if you get it, that's amazing, and it's so cool. Like I remember that happened at the Siege Series 5K when opening up the packs from the top 8 to top 16. Trey was opening up a Frontiers box and like throws the card on the table, like places it down and goes, I just pulled Ophidian. The entire room went dead silent.
Yeah. Well, we saw a couple of content creators like Samuel Graham and Red Zone Rogue pull Ophidians live on stream and saw their reactions. Like, you get that chase card. It's just that feel. And that's the other thing, to caveat off that, Matt, with Legions Realms at War, like they have these chase cards, they have these exalted rares and these renowned rares, right?
Exactly.
And it's kind of like Magic. When an expansion of Magic comes out, in my opinion, they have produced so much these last couple of years that their next expansion makes the expansion before useless. Like, in my opinion, like they
the whole concept of if everything's special, nothing's special, right?
Right. So Legions, if this was proven at the Guild Vault Games tournament, Siege Series tournament, you don't have to have a lot. Ed won first place with pretty much a generic deck. He didn't have all these, special shiny cards, these exalteds, these, couple exalteds, 3 exalteds, like 4 or 5 renowns. He didn't have that. He proved that you can just take a basic deck and win an entire tournament. And that's why I love this game. Like, you don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to be competitive in a tournament with this game.
Well, exactly.
Yes, every expansion is going to change the meta. Every expansion is going to have these cards that are going to, make people think and rebuild their decks. But it's not going to like overpower all these other cards so much that they're just deemed useless. You know what I mean?
And if there are cards that are more powerful, they're most likely going to be commons. Like, think about it like this.
Yeah.
Or uncommons, right? Like, Welcome to Alberton, I believe, is an uncommon. Or is it a common?
It's a common, yeah.
Right, so almost all the entire cards on the wish list, or not watch list, sorry, the watch list, are basically all common.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single renown or exalted or anything on there, is there? No.
I don't even think there's a rare.
No, and that's the thing we try and highlight is the fact that, like you mentioned there, to piggyback off what you said there, like Ed won a tournament with a 50 card deck that 25 of the cards come from the starter deck.
Yep.
And his most expensive card in his entire deck was $50.
Yeah, and you ran 2 of them, and that's it.
Yeah, and the rest of his deck outside of that, I think his next most expensive card was $3. So what other game can you play at a high competitive level that has the prize supports that we offer in a game where your deck is that cheap?
Yeah. So my heroes deck that I had built, undefeated for almost an entire year. I got cocky at my first tournament. Frontiers that just came out. I got real cocky. I said, you know what? I'm not going to change anything in this deck. I'm just going to play what I have. I didn't do horribly bad in the tournament. I didn't obviously win the tournament, but it wasn't like my deck was completely useless. Yeah, I got my ass stomped pretty good because, people had put in some of these Frontier cards, but it didn't make it to where reason why I lost was because I had bad draws. Every single game is like, I don't know what happened. Anytime I played my hero deck before, I had great draws. I was able to win within like 4 or 5 turns. No problem at all. Then when the tournament came, this is how I know that Legions has something special, because I played my first tournament. I had nothing but bad draws and got my ass kicked because of that reason. But I still want to go back to play tournaments. And everybody knows when they play games with me, I am a sore loser. I've thrown dice and everything else. So yeah, everybody knows I'm a sore loser, but I just wanted to go back to play the game even more. But it wasn't because the deck was useless. It's just, like I said, I had bad hand, I had bad draws, and that's just what it came down to. And that's what I love about the game, is I don't have to go and chase this card online and possibly buy it on eBay or, third party or somebody trying to flip it for like $150 to win the game. And we've seen Magic does that a lot.
Yeah, and to comment off that too, right? Like you said about that always that coming back factor, is like, right when we first launched, right? We did it at a local game store close to us, and we had built it up, we had advertised for it and everything, and our game launch, both starter decks along with Ravaged Lands as our base set. We were still during COVID restrictions here in Canada, so we could only have so many people in store, but we reached maximum capacity. We were at 37 in store, that was government allowed, and 37 players playing a brand new game. Now, a lot of them came from the Magic community, right? And I find that was a big adjustment for us, because we were expecting to get more Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon players, and I feel as though the Magic players is where they came across that point, and they tried the game out, and yet some of them is just, it got to a point where they're like, well, we really like this game, and so they got some of the cards and they were building decks and they come out and everything, and then of course Magic drops a couple big sets, their attention and their money and effort goes towards that, right? But one thing, like you said, is that they see 5, 6, 7 months later that we're still around, they dust off that collection, they come back and play, right? And they see a couple new expansions came out and they come back and play. And I think that that's awesome, is the fact that Magic is consistently like that throughout their years, that people will leave and come back to it.
Yeah.
And we had that with Magic players in our community, and have come back and they're like, you know what, you guys have proved to us you already have staying power in year one. So.
Oh no, exactly. I was happy I didn't have to draw lands. I was very happy about that, dude. I like the no cost.
You use your resources blood-born instead of, hoping you get that mana card, that land card to be able to tap for resource. No, it's you're always going to be able to play something, unlike Magic or some of these other games. You're always going to be able to play something. It just is up to you if you want to spend your life or not, and that, or you're consumed or whatever. So yeah, the game's amazing, man. It's showing its growth. It might not be fast enough for some people, but hey, it's fast enough for us fans. It's fast enough for the company. And Empires and Rise coming in January on Kickstarter.
It's gonna be huge.
A lot of different tiers, I'm sure, for LGSs and
yes,
consumers. So that just goes to show you continue support for LGSs. So,
and that's the scaling up we're doing.
Yeah. So that was. I guess that's going to do it for this first episode. This is just going to be an introductory video, but like me and Taylor and Matt, we always get kind of carried away because we get so excited to talk about this game and
we're all
just
talking
hanging out with each other. That
it's really not a good idea to put all three of us in a podcast.
It definitely is not. It is definitely.
You'll see as time goes on.
Yeah, I'm definitely a rambler, and Taylor is definitely so passionate about this game that he just wants to fill people with so much information as possible, and that's what I love about Taylor. I absolutely love him. He's like a brother now, and this is somebody I didn't even know a year ago. Half of you are like family to me now, and these are people I've met through social media or haven't even met in person that I just consider very, very good friends now, which is an amazing thing. Something I never thought I would do in my lifetime. Somebody not growing up with internet and back in the day. It's just an amazing thing, and amazing community, amazing game, amazing company, amazing creator, man. I can't I can't say thank you enough for bringing Legions of Realms at War to all of us. Like, you took like your story that you said was originally a screenplay, and you took that and you made it a game, and you shared it with all of us, which is an amazing thing. So I definitely appreciate that. And like I always tell everybody, I found this game in an important part of my life, and I thank you very much for the game, and I look forward to continuing this podcast and knocking out some awesome videos, having some awesome chit chats with some guests. I know that we have Pat, who's an orc player. He's going to be on the next episode, and then
coming up, yeah.
And then I believe on episode 3, we're going to have Josh, who's a mythical beast player. So, which is a deck I don't know too much about. I've played it a couple times, so I'd love to like.
It is kind of perfect because we just figured out the new mythical beast warlord today, as of recording this. So it's like it's gonna be fun to pick his brain.
It's gonna be great to have Josh's perspective on it.
Yeah, Josh is just an awesome guy. I felt bad when you guys came down. Josh and AJ are two people I really just wanted to sit down and talk to, but the tournament was so busy and so constant. There was just not room to sit down and talk. I was running around trying to do content and everything else, and I just did not get as much one-on-one time with them as I wanted. I didn't really get much one-on-one time with any of you that I wanted. We got to have dinner the night before, but I wanted more one-on-one time, but at the same time, I didn't want to be selfish. You guys were there just to meet these new players community, and I wanted them to be able to interact with you guys as well. So I kind of just stood back and did my own thing. And, we had some personal stuff going on in our personal life, me and my wife with the family. So kind of made the tournament was an awesome thing to be a part of, but it was just such a unopportune time for us personally with everything going on, which you guys know about. So it's just been it was kind of rough, but we were still there, we were still present, we were still passionate about the game. So which my wife supports everything I do, which is great, because without her I wouldn't have a YouTube channel. Without her I wouldn't probably be into Legions, and we wouldn't be doing this podcast. So we always have to thank those significant others and all our friends that we can actually sit down to do this podcast. So I appreciate everybody. So, yeah.
Well, I think this is, to be fair, is one of the best ideas you had, man. And you're full of great ideas, man. You help me on a regular basis with things, and the time of recording this, you help me with a lot of stuff as we ready ourselves for the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, please check out the Legions Realms at War Empires on the Rise Kickstarter. The launch page is up. It's ready to go. Make sure you hit that notify me when we go live. We have great tiers coming for people with excellent discount prices and some amazing special Kickstarter exclusive promos. So
right. And if you want to get into Legions Realms at War right now, I'll say it every single podcast. If you want to get into it right now, you can check out nerdscafe.com. It's a LGS there in Canada. And you can use promo code ROLL4Initiative. That's ROLL, the number 4 initiative. And you can get 10% off all sealed and single Legions Realms at War products. So if you want to kind of get in the game, and if you're United States, hey, our dollar's a little bit higher, so you'll save you some money either way. So, and then the extra 10% off. So if you want to get in the game, you can check it out there. Also, like Taylor said, check out the Legions website, the Kickstarter. We'll have all those links in the description of this podcast. We'll make sure we have all that ready. We'll have the Discord link in there. So you guys want to join the Discord, chit chat with the community. We'll have all that stuff. You just click on those links, join, check out the pages, and we'll have all that stuff set up for you guys. So
yeah,
easy peasy.
all three of us and our guests and stuff are all in the Discord. You can access and directly talk to me through the Discord as well. And I think the same thing is, follow along on all the social media and the YouTube channels, because we have a lot of stuff coming, especially as we push through through January.
Hey, a better way to coerce people into coming to the Discord. If you actually want to talk to the creator of this game, join the Discord, go to that sign up sheet for the podcast, and you can actually be a part of this podcast and talk to the creator of this amazing game. So, you know, if nothing else, you just want to pick the brain of a game creator. Hey, this is the podcast for you. Join the Discord, hit that sign up sheet, and be a guest, right?
Yep.
We'd love to hear not just from community members or people that we know, but I'd love to hear from brand new Discord community members, people who just brand new into this game. I'd love to hear their opinions and their thoughts and maybe some of their ideas, whatever they have. So make sure you join the Discord. Make sure you check out the website and everything else. Like I said, we'll have all the descriptions. And yeah, I think that's going to do it, fellas. Yep. Another podcast done. So
yeah,
awesome night. Thanks again for being here, Taylor. I appreciate it. And
thank you for having me and making me a part of this. And remember Allegiance Lounge, where we just talk about this and that.
Yeah, and Matt, thank you again, buddy.
Hey,
and
thank you so much for having me, man. It's been a pleasure.
All right, awesome. And until next time, like I said, we'll have Pat, one of our community members who plays the Orc Legion. He's won a few tournaments himself. He'll be on here as he talks to us about his favorite Legion.
And then we follow that up with Josh afterwards with Mythical Beasts.
Right.
So
right,
yes,
so
sir.
All right. That'll do it for the night. Thank you for all the listeners for checking out this new podcast. And I hope to see more people checking out the next one and the one after that. So we can't do this without an amazing community and listeners checking out the podcast. Yeah. So thanks, everybody.
Let's grow together, guys.
Let's see you all next time.
All right. Next time, guys.